The first thing that needs to happen is Albertans, Saskatchewan, the Western province need to realize the Confederation was stacked against them from the beginning. I just listened to Danielle last night or this morning in one of her. She did an interview with one of the professors there, I think from the U of A. But in it, she said, in her interview, she said, we need to get back to where Confederation is aligned in the manner that it was intended. You know, she said the federal government had their powers, the provinces had their powers, and we need to get back to that, where we have sovereignty as a province, just as the federal government has sovereignty as a federal entity. And she said if we can get that back, where the federal government respects provincial sovereignty, then we can move ahead. Kind of that was the gist of her conversation. But she's dead wrong. When I heard her say that, I thought, you don't understand that that's not the problem. The problem is your sovereignty is worth nothing when the federal government really has full control, the way the system was set up. The Canadian Charter, the Canadian BNA Act was set up just as exactly the same way as the old British colonial system. And the outlying countries were intended to provide cheap labor and cheap raw resources. And those resources were to go back to the motherland, and there's where the wealth would remain. And that's the way Canada was set up, and people don't understand it. It was always intended that Ontario and Quebec would be the power base, and that the hinterland, Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, would be hewers of wood and drawers of water, and they would forever send their materials to the central government to be turned into product and then sold back to the slaves in the hinterland. And that's still where we are. If they are not prepared to change that system, I don't care about Alberta's sovereignty. They don't have a hope in the end. They are still going to be slaves to the central system. And the only alternative is for the province of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and I'll deal with Alberta, is for them to become the 51st state. That's their best hope.